Welcome to episode 2 of the Impact Table with Jason and Nicole. This is our faith-based leadership podcast that was created to inspire purposeful living, meaningful influence, and authentic growth. These are conversations that we believe will cause you to lead in your everyday life. We all need that inspiration and encouragement, and that's just simply what we're here to do, use our life experiences to pass on to others. So we hope you get something out of today's podcast. I want to start right off. I don't want to waste your time with a question for you. Have you ever took a moment and paused in life and looked up and thought, man, I'm just surviving this thing. I'm not actually living it.
Yes, many times with the responsibilities and the pressure and all of the constant schedules that come with just life and different seasons of life. Yes, it is very easy to kind of realize you're not being very purposeful with what you're doing. You're just busy.
Just going through the motions. So that's what we're going to talk about today. It's something that's relevant in our life, our everyday moments as well. We're going to talk about the difference between actually being busy or being purposeful. The difference between being busy or are we actually being purposeful in our everyday life? So this will have some to do maybe with inspiration in your business and your family and your marriage, with your children, whatever it might be. Let's dive into it today. This is a conversation, but we want it to be meaningful because we thank you for your time that you'd carve out for us to share with you. So we do got some notes. We want to kind of dive into this thing. So there are seasons that feel overwhelmed. I mean, we've been in one ourselves,
Yes.
right? Just with the schedules and just busyness of travel.
Mm-hmm. We've had a big travel year this year. It's 2 weddings and a baseball tournament. And
2 destination weddings.
Yes, 2 destination weddings.
It wasn't just weddings.
Yes.
It was destination weddings.
Yes,
right?
It was Georgia, Tennessee.
Yep.
And then just got back from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for baseball/family vacation. So yes, this has been a busy season. I feel like all seasons, though, have had their own busyness per se.
You know, when I was growing up, our family, we didn't travel a ton. I mean, we took the summer vacation or whatever. We didn't travel a lot, and I always thought, man, it'd be great to just travel all the time, have places to go and things to do. And now that happens, you try to fit it in, you try to figure it out, and it's like, oh, we have to go here, we have to go there. But there was a time that we thought, I want to go here, I want to go there, right?
Yeah, we want to do all the things.
Do all the things, but then you realize the investment and the time and all that, and it can become busy and instead of enjoyable at times, right?
You're absolutely right about that. Yeah.
Become emotionally drained just from life pressures. We overcommit ourselves.
Yes.
Sometimes when you overcommit, you disconnect yourself from purpose.
Yes.
Right. And we're talking about busy versus purposeful today. And even before we recorded this podcast, we had to have that discussion.
We did, because there's a mountain of laundry that has to be done after being gone for 10 days and suitcases that have to be unpacked and
right.
a house that needs to be cleaned and all of the things. But really what it comes down to is you had the time today, I have the time today, and that's not always the case with our schedules. A lot of times I'm gone early in the morning and, he's gone for work when I get home and he comes home late. I'm in bed because I'm up early. So we have to be able to maximize this time. So today was about being purposeful. We'll save the busy for tomorrow.
Yeah, that was actually the conversation. Like we're about to do a podcast on being busy versus purposeful. And yet so let's be purposeful. Let's be purposeful. So we can all find those moments that we have been so busy in life, and we just kind of shared just briefly what that is. And sometimes those seasons, it doesn't actually feel like it's meaningful.
Right.
And we're missing moments in life. And have you ever just realized that you're like, man, I'm operating on autopilot.
Again, many times, many times.
Yeah.
There are those seasons, your purpose might be a little bit different depending on the season you're in. So when I was a stay-at-home mom and I had 2 little kids under 2, my purpose was to be mom, to raise these little babies and be there for them and love them and feed them and nurture them. So my purpose then was different than, what it was now that they're older. Now I kind of feel like a chauffeur most days. I feel like that's kind of my purpose in life right now.
Yeah, I see the miles on that mom expedition.
We are everywhere all the time.
I definitely, I see it peeling off those miles, baseball practices, track meets, whatever, or swim meets, whatever it might be.
But you and I have created this new purpose for this season, right? With this podcast. So, when we have the time when we're home together,
right.
And I'm not carting kids here and not carting kids there, especially now that it's summer, they can sleep in and swim and do all the things, or we don't have to be 16 places in one day.
Right.
I'm able to shift that purpose now to be able to have something you and I can be a part of together.
Correct. And that's about purpose. So, the bigger conversation today about this is, let's just bring it to reality. We live in a hustle culture.
Yes.
Right. It's productivity obsession, if you would. You just get on social media and all these things pop up about, look at everything we're doing. Look at me, what I'm doing. Look at how grand all this is. And it's this social pressure that comes back to us that, man, I haven't taken my kids to Disney World 7 times this year.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I haven't done this. I have not done that. And it's this pressure. And then all of a sudden we feel guilty.
Yes.
We can feel guilty at times because we feel like that we're not doing enough.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes resting, just sitting still, right? As much as I'd just like to sit down and I say read a book, I'll be honest, I don't love to read. But, just to feel like I could have that moment. But a lot of times I feel guilty. I'm like, there's stuff that needs to be washed for so-and-so, or this needs to get done. Dinner has to be cooked, like it'd be great to just sit. But sometimes we do feel guilty for sitting.
Yeah.
And it's in those seasons that you kind of really have to take a look and say, okay, is what I'm doing really meaningful and purposeful right now? You have to sort of prioritize. Sometimes it is letting the laundry wait until Wednesday instead of Tuesday.
Yeah. So being needed can feel a lot like being purposeful, but they're not always the same thing, because being needed can actually drain you. But being purposeful actually helps anchor your identity so that it fuels you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's being able to say yes to the important moments, right? Some people are yes people just to be yes people. If they get invited anywhere, it's like they have to be there, they're going to go, For me, I'm like, that's him. That is you all day long. For me, I'm like, okay, if it's a birthday.
I do have FOMO. I do have a fear of missing out on things.
You do.
So
for me, if it's a birthday or a milestone or something important, I'll prioritize that because I feel like that's somewhere that I need to be to celebrate someone or, encourage someone, whatever that looks like. Other times I can just say, no, that does not fit into my day or my schedule.
She'll tell me a lot of times, she'll say, well, not a lot of times, but times that it's needed. I'm like, well, they invited us. And she'll say, I have no problem telling them I need to do things. I have no problem. And I'm like, but I'm going to miss something. Yeah. So it's needed sometimes. It does become busyness. And sometimes we stay busy because silence can force us to confront what we actually feel.
So I want you to expound on that a little bit, because you're one that if he sits in silence for 1 second too long, he has a bajillion questions and
I
things
do.
he wants to talk about and things he wants to discuss. And talk to us about silence for you.
Yeah. For me, because my mind does, it runs 100 miles a minute. I'm constantly thinking, and I'm a conversation guy. I like to talk. I like to converse about things. And so for me, sometimes it makes you think, oh man, I forgot about this. Oh, I needed to do this and I totally missed it. So I'm not one too big on silence, but I have found that my silence is in the mornings. I, I'm the type of person that wherever I have to be, I have to get up at least an hour and a half before it's time for me to be there, because I need my coffee, I need my time of reflection, my time in silence. But once the day gets going, look out, because I want to have conversations. I want to talk.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of that. I do want to bring this to scripture today, though, because obviously we do lead our life faith based, and we reflect on biblical principles. And Jesus was intentional, intentional,
Intentional.
intentional. Thank you. Intentional about his purpose, right?
Yes.
He did not operate frantically. What we have found is we can rest in biblical principles. It's not a sign of weakness. And if you want to look in scripture, in Luke chapter 10, down around verse 37, it tells, Luke brings out a time that Jesus goes to a lady's house, Martha, and Mary was there. And it's this encounter with Jesus and these two women. And they both are recognizing his presence differently.
Yes.
Mary, scripture says in Luke chapter 10, that she sit down at the feet of Jesus. She's like, this is the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings. This is the Messiah. She sits at the feet of Jesus to worship him and to glean from his teachings. And Martha is the opposite.
Yeah. She's a busybody.
She's a busybody.
She's just doing the things, all the things.
Doing all the things. She's preparing the meal. Her mindset was, wow, Jesus is at my house. Let me make sure everything's proper and in order. Let me prepare him a meal. Let me get the food ready. And she's running around and running around. And then Mary says, Jesus, look at Martha. And Jesus doesn't condemn her.
Right.
He just says, Martha, you're missing the moment. You can read it for yourself. Luke chapter 10, it starts down around verse 37, 38. He says, you're missing the moment.
Yeah.
This is my moment to spend with you, and you're missing the moment. How often do we miss moments of importance
Yeah.
because of busyness?
Probably more times than we would like to admit for most people, right? That's just that's life, especially I'm a busybody. I am a busybody.
Yeah.
You know, he talked about he wants to get up and have a time of reflection. No. I need 17 minutes to get up, get out the door and get to where I need to go and just start moving, right? Like that's how I start my day is I just want to get up and I want to go. If I sit, then I'm looking around the house and I'm going, oh, I should do a load of laundry before I leave. Like regardless, I'm just going to find a way to be busy. So I get that. It is a great story to read because it does, force people like me, to sit and reflect and say, okay, what am I doing today that's, going to be purposeful and going to be meaningful aside from cooking my family dinner and doing the things that need to be done? What's really going to fulfill that passion and purpose within me that, God has placed in me?
Right. Because, one of the things that we get often, and recently in our friend group, a lot of our friends have been asking us questions about relationship with God and who Jesus is and these biblical principles, most people struggle in their faith walk because they miss the moment.
Yeah.
They don't create a moment to reflect on the word of God or to spend time in prayer or carve out time for worship, to make that time to enhance their relationship between them and God. And whether you're a religious person or not, listening to this podcast today, we are faith-based.
Yeah.
Right? So this is who we are. And we truly believe that the relationship with Christ and gleaning from his word can help sort out a lot of these things in our life.
Yeah.
And this is just a passage that is a great reminder that we can miss moments. How many moments have you missed with your children because of busyness? How many deals have you missed at work because you weren't purposeful in that moment? You didn't make the phone call that had to be made. You didn't send the email that had to be sent. You missed the moment. Leonard Ravenhill, old-time minister, once said, opportunities of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of the opportunity. Let me say that again. Opportunities of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of the opportunity. Opportunities have a time frame. Have you ever looked back and said, wow, man, I wish I would have.
Or I missed that.
I missed that moment. Wow, I wish I would have went ahead and got my master's degree before I had kids. I remember when I proposed to you and a friend of ours that was there at our proposal, he congratulated me, and then he said, you should have bought the boat before you bought the ring. Because he knew I wanted a boat. And I laughed, and boy, was he right, because it took me quite a few years before I got the boat.
Yep.
Because I bought the ring and all the things that had to get the house and had to be a man to provide for you and create, and it was years. And I just, it's something silly like that, but he's like, hey, well, you missed that moment. It'll come back. Maybe it'll come back around, right? But there are moments that we look back that don't come back around.
Right.
So opportunities of a lifetime must be seized in a lifetime of the opportunity. The moments we have with our children right now, they're coming around once.
Yes.
They're never going to be 3 again. They're never going to be 4 again. They're never. And so now that doesn't mean that we don't fulfill our responsibilities.
Yeah.
It's probably another podcast, but we're talking about purposeful and being busy. We have our son's a travel baseball player.
Yeah.
And with being that I'm the provider of the house, I miss some games.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean that I'm busy and not being purposeful? No, I give you credit for this, because you created a statement years ago helping our children understand. And you always said, if daddy doesn't do what he does, you can't do what you do.
Right.
Unpackage that a little bit.
Yeah. For kids, I think for both sides. As a dad, he feels a little bit of guilt and FOMO for not being there. And the kids, they're older now, so they get it, but as they were younger, playing sports and had the activities and all the things, it may not have been as easy for them to process. So being able to tell them, why isn't daddy here? Well, daddy's working to provide us what we need for you to be able to play these sports, for you to be able to do these activities. And they even say it now, they'll remind them and be like, well, dad, we can't do this if you don't go to work.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it's just something very important. I grew up in a household where, my dad traveled for work. He wasn't at every cross country meet and track meet and basketball game. He was gone most weeks, Monday through Friday. So I grew up in a home with that example being set. So for me, it was easy because I got to live that same life.
Yeah, you got to see the benefit of it, and I appreciate that from you, because I do feel guilty at times. There have been moments that I miss, but because of what I do, it allowed that moment to take place. So we're not saying to neglect responsibility. We don't neglect responsibility. Right. But there are things that fill our schedules that cause us to become
so busy that we miss moments,
Yeah.
whatever those moments are, opportunities, moments, memories, whatever that is that you might be missing out on. It's just about kind of prioritizing.
Right.
Like you said, don't not go to work.
Yeah. That's it. I'm quitting my job.
Don't quit your
That's
job.
it. I want to. Yeah.
That's not what we're saying. But when you're not at work, right? And it
Yeah.
is what you're doing right now the most meaningful thing you could be doing, whether it's for yourself or your family.
Correct. Correct. You know, she gives me the freedom that when I finish up my day, she'll text me and say, "Hey, are you going to the gym?" Because what we've learned is if I can have that moment, it clears my mind. Yeah, it puts me out of the house an extra hour. But when I do get home, I'm more focused. I'm more intentional. I went in, let off my steam, had a nice sauna, relaxed, and then it causes me to decompress. And then when I get home, I can be present.
Yeah.
And the same for Nicole. I mean, it's when I get up and we'll get the kids ready for school a lot so that you can go to the gym or whatever. It's a give and take.
Yeah.
And that our relationship functions. We give each other the space.
Right.
Sometimes you just need to go be with your girls. Give you the space to do that. Why? Because that's healthy for you and that's healthy for our relationship. That's healthy.
Yeah.
You need your time. Sometimes you let me just go be with the guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Go fishing, go play golf, have your moment. Now, it's not 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just the moment to say, hey, it's healthy all the way
It
around.
is. It's give and take, and we do a good balance. We don't always leave each other when we need time. We love our date days, and we're best friends. So when we can, we hang out. But sometimes I do just want to be alone. I don't want, I send me to the grocery store by myself with no agenda. Like I'm happy with that.
Yeah. It's understanding each other and our relationships. But you mentioned that we created this. We've been married 20 years. 20 years. We 20 years ago in 2006 we said I do, and here we are 20 years later. A few years ago, when the kids got a little bit older, right now they're at this podcast they're 13 and about to be 15.
Almost 15, yeah.
So we found that once a week we just need some time for our marriage, and our kids understand that now. So we go and we'll have dinner together. We will just typically it's Saturday evenings, and we just set aside time once a week for a couple hours for us to have our date time.
Yeah.
Because scripture talks about how the anointing flows from the head down. And first of all, our relationship with God is most important. Second of all, our relationship and our marriage is most important. Third, it's our children. Because if we're not healthy as a couple, then our children will not be raised in a healthy home. We've never let our children separate our relationship.
Right.
We've included them in our relationship. Right? We parent the same way. And if we have a disagreement in parenting, we discuss that in private so that when we address the kids, it's a unit.
Yeah.
And that has been healthy in our relationship, because if we're not together strong, then they're not raised in a healthy environment.
Correct.
And so you have to prioritize those. That's being purposeful.
Correct.
As being purposeful. And so when we were putting this together, we jotted down like a couple of things. So when we talk about busy, busy oftentimes is reactive.
Right.
Purposeful causes you to be intentional. When you're busy, you're like, oh, I have to do this now.
You're just reacting to the moment
Right.
you're in. And, sometimes if you're like me, it's like, oh, I got to do this. And then I get halfway there and see something else that needs to be done and forgot about what I was doing the first time because now I'm reacting to, spot number 2 that I just saw. So yes, reactive, busy, and then versus being purposeful, which is intentional, which a lot of times you have to be intentional about planning to be purposeful, to stay on purpose.
Right. Right. Being busy causes you to be exhausted.
Amen.
Purposeful causes you to be focused. Now listen, when you're following purpose, you will get tired.
Yeah.
I think about a friend of ours that I'm not going to mention his name because I didn't ask him, but for 2 years he side hustled. He had a job. He's the provider for his house, and on the weekends he was side hustling. His wife was on board. She encouraged him. He had a dream. And there was a lot of times that, hey, are you going on the boat today? Nope. I have a side job. I have a side job. I have a side job. Well, that side job 2 years later became his main job.
Right.
He quit working for a company and created his own company, which has increased his livelihood. Now he works for himself, started his own business. Some would say, man, you're missing moments. But he was saying, I'm creating something greater for my family. So now guess what he does? Every Saturday and Sunday, he's out on his boat.
Yeah.
He's with his family. Now he has the freedom with travel soccer with his girls that he can be there. He can find those moments because instead of building somebody else's dream, he started building his own.
Yeah. He was intentional about making the investment for his future, right? That's what it comes down to, is he was intentional about that. Was he exhausted in the process?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. You're never going to have a time that you're not exhausted, but the exhaustion from just being busy is different, because when you're exhausted while you're fulfilling purpose, part of fulfilling that purpose just naturally kind of gives you an energy.
Correct.
Right? It helps you survive those moments
Yeah.
of exhaustion. Yeah, you're going to be tired, but you keep moving forward because there's purpose behind what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? When you're just busy and you're like, I don't have any purpose, and like you don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
You don't want to go be busy, but you do it because you have to. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the difference between being exhausted from being busy versus like being exhausted but also purposeful at the same time.
A good friend of ours, he's an author, speaker, one of the most sought after speakers, Delatoro McNeil. One of his first books that he wrote was titled Caught Between a Dream and a Job. Caught Between a Dream and a Job. Look it up. You can find it out there. It's a great read. Delatoro McNeil, Caught Between a Dream and a Job. And the whole premise of the book is being purposeful and go after purpose. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but that's what I got out of it is you're either going to spend your life building somebody else's dream or build it spending your dream. And so Caught Between a Dream and Job, Delatoro McNeil, it's a great read. So the whole concept today is we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to do what matters.
Yeah.
Instead of doing everything and not doing what matters. What if we did everything we could to do what matters?
Yeah. Finding
those moments, carving it out. One of the things that busyness creates, or maybe what I'm trying to say is what drives busyness, is that we're validation driven.
Yes.
We want everybody to validate everything we do.
That's like you mentioned earlier, the social media.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody's posting all the things they're doing on, social media. I did this, I did that. Here's the 98th thing I did today.
Yeah.
Just so people can see how busy they are.
Right.
And people do look for that validation. Absolutely.
But the opposite. So if being busy is validation driven, being purposeful really is calling driven.
Yes.
What is my purpose? What am I called to do? What's my reason for existing? Right. And so those are some maybe some things for you to think about. So think about this in your life: is how do you know when you're just surviving? Can success distract you from purpose? What things keep people from slowing down?
Those are all great questions that we hope you guys will take some time to ponder, jot them down. I think, how do you know when you're just surviving? I think, again, it comes down to when you wake up every day, do you feel like you're just an autopilot robot, go through the motions mode? Or at the end of the day, do you feel as though you have accomplished something
Right.
towards, your future or your plans? I think that's probably one of the ways I would discern that, in those seasons where I'm just surviving. It just feels like, okay, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna open the gym, I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna take the kids to school, and then I'm gonna, pack up all the bags to be gone for sports all night. And there were days at the end of the day that there's not much I could have changed about it. It
Correct.
was what it was. I had to do these things for, our family and the children. But there were some days that I was just like, oh, I got to do this again tomorrow. Like, that to me wasn't fulfilling the purpose at that moment that I feel like God has, put within me.
Right.
And I think that's just a season that, there are some
Those are
seasons I just
tasks.
had to survive. And,
Yeah.
it is what it is. It's not that, my purpose is gone or has been stripped from me. It's just a matter of trying to determine how to continue to fulfill that purpose in addition to all the other responsibilities.
Yeah, because those are necessary
Correct.
tasks,
Yeah.
right? And we've talked about this before, that those are necessary tasks in fulfillment of purpose sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Success oftentimes can distract people
Mm-hmm.
from purpose, because you think, wow, if I walk away from this, I walk away from the money or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those are the things that keep us from really slowing down and taking a breath.
Yeah.
And sometimes even in my business, I've had to come to the point where I say, you know what, I can straighten this out on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I can stay here 3 more hours after business is
Mm-hmm.
closed
Mm-hmm.
and get this wrapped up. Or guess what? Nothing's going to change between now and
And then,
tomorrow morning.
yeah,
I can,
still be
you know
there.
what? I'll come in 30 minutes early
Mm-hmm.
and clean it up in the morning. Right.
Right.
Just talking about task and
Yeah.
business that has to be undone, because maybe at 7 o'clock at night, the best thing I need to do is come home and be with my family,
Mm-hmm.
not stay at the office until 10 o'clock on something that I could do the next morning at 8 o'clock.
Right.
And sometimes those are things that really kind of keep us, and we just got to be able to have that mental
Mm-hmm.
shift, that turn off to say, this is not life altering at this moment.
Yes.
So with that being said, I want to point out one thing before we wrap up today. My leadership certification is through the John Maxwell organization, where I'm a certified speaker, trainer, and coach. John Maxwell, if you've not familiar with him, he's known as one of the number one leadership gurus in the world. Did a New York Times bestseller. I'm not trying to advertise for him, but wrote a book called 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And in this book, he does talk about this very principle, and it's law number 17, the law of priorities. The law of priorities states that leaders understand that activity is not necessarily accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
Activity is not necessarily accomplishment. That's the law of priorities. And you say leaders, and some of you may be thinking, I'm not a leader. Yes, you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you are. Because before you can ever lead anybody else, you have to be able to lead yourself.
Yeah.
We all have a leadership responsibility. You have to be able to lead yourself. A lot of people have really messed up their life by not being able to lead their own selves.
Yeah.
They got behind the wheel driving drunk. They sent a text message they shouldn't have. They couldn't lead themselves, and therefore it caused great chaos in their life. But in this, he quotes Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of highly effective people. Sorry, I had a little mental block there. So that's what Stephen Covey, the book Stephen Covey wrote, amongst others, but he was known for that one. And Stephen Covey said this: a leader is the one who climbs the tallest tree, surveys the entire situation, and yells, "Wrong jungle." Stephen Covey said, a leader is the one who climbs the tallest trees, surveys the entire situation, and yells, "Wrong jungle." My point in bringing that out today is when we talk about priorities in our family, somebody has to survey the land.
Yeah.
In your business, you have to survey the land. Listen, if you're a business leader, you got to keep your finger on the pulse. You have to know the pulse of the organization for it to keep moving in the right direction. In our family, we have to do that. And sometimes, and you know, this isn't, not just one of us have done this, but both of us have done this at times where we said, well, you've come to me or I've come to you and said, time out. We're in the wrong jungle.
Yeah.
The reason we're not seeing all the beauty that was supposed to be on this trail is because we're on the wrong trail.
Yeah.
And you have to be brave enough, intelligent enough, strong enough to say time out, regroup.
Yep.
Get back.
It's time to get back in alignment.
And that's what Stephen Covey is pointing out there. He's saying somebody's got to climb the tallest tree and make sure we're still in the right jungle, that we're moving in the right direction. Being purposeful in what we are doing. So we're going to leave you with some actionable items today, okay? And we're going a little bit longer than we wanted to, but I think we want to leave you with some takeaways. So here's some things to think about. Maybe it's time to reevaluate your priorities.
Yeah, that's a good place to start. You can also protect quiet time. As you mentioned earlier, that time of reflection, whether it's in the morning for you or laying in bed before you go to sleep, wherever you decide to put that time in your day, protect that quiet time.
Learn to say no.
Yeah. You should say that again for yourself.
Learn to say no.
Say that for the people in the back.
That is for me. You learn to say no.
Another one, stop tying worth to productivity, right? So your worth is not tied to how productive you are every day.
Stop tying worth to productivity. Man, that's good. Make room for reflection and prayer.
Yeah, so that goes back to protecting your quiet time. That could easily be a part of your quiet time. And it doesn't have to be an hour or 2 hours every day, 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever you can squeeze in. Sometimes for me, it's driving down the road, just turn some worship music on or turn the radio off and just pray. I just, find that pocket of time to fit in your day. You'd like for it to be intentional instead of obligatory, but, that's wherever you can find that pocket. It's great.
And then you can always ask yourself, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
That's a good question. Trying to.
Why are you doing what you're doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Does it make sense? Does it, fulfill my purpose right now? Is it propelling me towards what I believe to be the purpose that I've been created to fulfill?
So, the big question is, if your schedule reflects your priorities, then it's obvious what your current life is prioritizing. So if your marriage is struggling, ask yourself, are you prioritizing your spouse? Mm-hmm. If your business is struggling, what are you not prioritizing in your business to help overcome that? Because every business has things that you like to do and you do not like to do. Sometimes it's doing the things you don't like to do. You got to make a decision. I'm either going to hire somebody to do it. I just have to suck it up and do
Yeah.
it. What about your children? Are you prioritizing them?
Yeah.
So yeah, Nicole and I have a date night once a week. Doesn't mean it's elaborate. It's most of the time pretty simple. It's just us together. But our kids know as soon as we get home, we're gonna have a house party.
Yeah.
We're bringing them something home. We're bringing home their favorite chicken wings. We're bringing home their favorite dessert.
Yeah.
Whatever it might be, and we're gonna come home.
We turn the speaker
we get home
on
at a
and-
decent hour, and we're gonna turn the speaker on. We're gonna have a house party and have a good time.
Yeah.
Right. So if maybe looking at your life, prioritize, because what your priorities are reflecting what you are prioritizing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So we're going to wrap up today. Anything else that you have, babe, that you want to bring to light?
I don't think so. I think this is a good start. We've tried to tackle a lot here in the last 40 minutes. You got some little bonus tips in there too. A little off script, but no, I think it's just a reminder of, making sure that you are being intentional about, how your day goes, and that you are fulfilling purpose, whatever that purpose is in the season that you're in. And we just want to encourage you to, continue to ask yourself these questions. Is what I'm doing right now really important? Is what I'm doing right now making a difference? Is what I'm doing right now prioritizing my purpose, or am I just being busy?
Yeah. So we're going to wrap this up, because maybe purpose isn't found in doing more. Maybe it's found in finally slowing down enough to hear what really matters.
Yeah.
Maybe purpose isn't found by doing more, but maybe it's found by finally slowing down long enough to hear what really matters. So I'll leave you today with this. What in your life is keeping you busy but not fulfilled?
Yeah. Let me ask you that again. We want you to answer this question, comment, send us a message. We'd like to hear from you. But what in your life is keeping you busy but not fulfilled? That's our question to you today.
Yeah. And how can they reach out to us?
They can reach out to us on DMs, Instagram, Facebook. You can put a comment on our YouTube channel. And anyway, you can email us at hello@impacttablepodcast.com. So lots of ways that you can connect with us.
Yep. So thank you for joining us today. This has been episode 2 of the Impact Table with Jason and Nicole. And we hope that this has inspired you and to have meaningful influence in your life, authentic growth, and some purposeful living.
Yes.
Another conversation that we hope causes you to lead. Until next time, go with God as He goes with you.